Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Welcome to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We're so happy that you could join us today. We've got a really wonderful guest coming on in just a couple of minutes. Cindy, this has been a really wonderful time of year. We've been enjoying some amazing weather. We're back in the new studio. We've got a lot of great stuff going on. We've got new guests, a lot of excitement, a lot of wonderful things. Are you excited about today's show or what?
I'm excited about life in general. I mean, does it get any better? You know, we've got this great radio show with a fantastic producer, fantastic guests, our own website for our shows, new courses coming, books, excitement. Oh my gosh, I can't hardly contain myself.
Yeah, a lot of really interesting, fun work kind of coming all together all at once and making its way forth into the world. It's really a cool thing. I'm really excited to introduce our guest today. We've got Sandra Dee Robinson. She's been named by the media the Charisma Coach. She's actually a very well-known television actress. She's a soap opera star, an author, international speaker, TV and radio host. She's also done some really wonderful work as a business coach, a consultant, and a speaker for companies, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and some well-established experts. She really helps people to increase their sales and achieve what they desire in life by helping them to really naturally step into their most powerful self. And we're so happy to have her today. Because Sandra, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me here, and congratulations. Your courses are doing so well, and you're putting great stuff out there. It's very, very cool to see.
Thank you. We love catching up with you today, too.
Yes, and you have some remarkable things to share about your business today. I'm so excited to be able to bring it to our listeners so that they can learn about your newest fabulous venture in Texas.
It seems fitting, doesn't it, that we're talking about working with horses in Texas and all of that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Austin is such a cosmopolitan city now, and I'm thinking you're about, a half an hour away?
Well, it used to be a half an hour, but it has gotten really to be a popular place, Austin. Mm-hmm. So we are growing in numbers here. The city has actually grown. There's a lot more traffic. So when I first got here, 5 years ago, we were 35 minutes from downtown Austin. We're now about 55 minutes.
Oh.
Well, that's including traffic. Well, Sandra, I'm not sure if you remember, but you actually interviewed me maybe 5 or 6 years ago about my first book. at
wow.
eWomen Conference.
Yes.
So
That
now
makes total sense.
it's my turn to invite you here to interview you today. So here we are.
That's exciting. Yes, thank you.
It really is. And so without further ado, Thomas.
Yeah, Sandra, today we want to talk about your equine assisted coaching that you are currently doing. We'd love for you to fill us in on all the details. First off, tell us the name of it.
Yeah, I came up with kind of a cool name because I'm primarily working with women. The groups that I do are women. I do work with men individually, but the program's called Charismatic Cowgirl. And, my first company was called Charisma on Camera. So there seems to be a charismatic theme through it all. So it just sort of made sense to call it that. And although it may seem that it's something completely different from my communication and presentation coaching that I was doing, because I was working with experts, helping them get public speech down, work the stage, be masters in being interviewed in media and on podcasts. And it was all about getting their voice out there and really holding a strong presence no matter what type of difficult conversation or presentation they were doing. So it may seem like it's something completely off the deep end that I'm now like off playing with horses, but it actually does coordinate really, really well. It enhances the work that I'm already doing. And so I'm planning about 3 times a year to have a retreat, a very intimate retreat for women. And our first one is coming up November 2nd. I've only got a couple of spots left in that, so that filled up super fast. So I'm really excited about what this can be doing for some of the women that I work with.
And how many are able to come to your retreats? Is it, you said intimate, does that mean a low number?
It is a very low number. Yeah. I'll do introductory workshops where I can have up to 20 people where they can come and learn just what is, like we're going to talk today. A lot of people are confused. What is equine assisted learning versus therapy versus not having horses at all, So I'll do an intro that has more people, but the retreats are only 6 women and that's it. So the reason for that is it's a time for these high level, most of the women that I work with are very high level in one way or another. They're either at the top of their game or most of them are, they're doing very well, but they feel like they're either out of touch or they're dealing with stress or they're having leadership issues or they just don't know what's next for them. And they don't have the bandwidth with everything on their plate to be able to take a breath and figure out what their intuition, what their gut is actually telling them. A lot of times women will shut that down when they're in a high stress or a corporate situation. And so just getting out and getting back into the rhythm of nature is one of the main benefits of doing anything that is associated with horses, because obviously you can't bring them into the office, or maybe you could, but I don't think that's a very good idea. I don't recommend that.
You've done the right thing by bringing them into your office or bringing your office to them, which I think is really incredible.
Well, it'll also bring a whole new thought process to slipping in the shoulds.
Right.
That's really funny.
Yes.
Sandra, when you are actually working with clients, what does it kind of look like? How does it start off? What does it begin like?
Well, I can give you an example. Would that work?
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Okay.
So I'll give you an example. And when I say, if people are listening, it should only take 6 people, I do speak on this. I mean, my topic is the same as the name of my upcoming book, which is Horse Wisdom for Human Life. So I do teach what the horses bring, even if you can't come and work one-on-one with me. So this was part of a workshop that I had done when I first kicked this off. It was called Wine and Equine. Because I figured if I served wine, women would show up. I was so afraid nobody would come to the party.
So smart.
It worked. It worked really well. But we did it for about 1.5 years. And this woman came. She was a very, very confident on the outside, very confident corporate executive. And she was in charge of an international team, right, of people. So she was very pulled together. She definitely commanded a presence whenever she walked into the room. She even chose the most powerful horse that I have to work with, which seemed suiting. And when she went into, we do this work on the ground. There is no riding. It's all on the ground. It's about building relationship. And you go into a round pen where it's just the human and the horse, and things go build a relationship from there. And they go from there. So when I asked her what she wanted to do with her horse, she said, I want her to run, quote unquote. So she encouraged her, and the horse was more than willing to do so. And the horse starts just running in circles around her. and she's running after the horse. And she's finally stopped to catch her breath. And the horse, by the way, is still doing what she asked it to do, which was running around her. And she's saying, I just can't believe I can't keep up. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I looked at her and I was prompted, as I get to ask the question, which was, what was it that you asked your horse to do? Because I wanted her to, and before she could finish the sentence, she realized that she was doing the same pattern with the horse that she was doing at work. And when she came to us, she was outwardly successful. She was making money, but she was exhausted. At the end of every day, she was wiped out, exhausted, and had a really hard time getting up in the mornings because she was emotionally and, quite honestly, physically at that point drained. And she realized that she had, in effect, chased the horse. Her horse partner was doing exactly what she asked her to do, and yet she was still running behind her. And so it was a lesson for her. She literally looked at me and she said, this is what I do to the people that I oversee. I need to give them a little more trust and stand back and let them handle it. I can lead from behind. I don't have to be right up against them. And she took that to such heart. She managed to kind of get over her overmanaging. And she reconnected with her energy source that was in her body. She felt better. Within a year, actually, she transferred to a new position in a different corporation. And she's happier with that arrangement. She's working within her own personality strengths and she's not working against them. So something like that can really make a difference. It might even, I think, could even kept her healthy. Because when you get to that point of exhaustion and you stay there, especially for women, I've got to say, it's just not a good thing. It's not healthy. So I think that we intervened in a very positive way, emotionally and physically in that circumstance.
Well, it sounds like she had a revelation in her ability to recognize what she was doing subconsciously, and then to finally bring it to the conscious level to be able to make some changes after her realization. But isn't that interesting how that all came together?
The interesting, one of the nice little conclusion to that was when she realized it, I said, would you like your horse to stop? And she stood up and just stopped her energy. Right there, she started to work with her energy really well. The woman stood up, gave her the energy to stop. The horse turned, stopped, and walked right up to her, just like that. And
without her saying or doing anything.
If my employees would do that. I said, well, maybe they will.
Well, and another point would be the grounding nature of being in that arena with the horse. That she's getting herself grounded to be able to even have those realizations and take control and take charge of her own energy. The horse even noticed.
Yes. And that is something that, on the opposite side of someone like her, I get women that have come in that have shut down their energy or their strength, be it maybe a personal relationship, a divorce, a loss of a job, a loss of a title. In other words, maybe, the title of mother isn't as important because her kids have gone off. It's an empty nest. A lot of times when we lose what we think is our identity, we struggle to find that confidence again. And I've had some of these women come in, some of them even a little afraid of the horses, not being able to tap into their strength or their voice at all. And through working with their equine partner that they chose, which is a big thing, I let them choose their partner. That's what I find is one of the most important things.
Sandra, when we come back, we're going to
choose the one that's going to serve them.
Sandra, when we come back next segment, we're going to talk about that, and we want to hear more about that in the next segment of the Imagine More Success radio show.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shamans worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Path Home Shamanic Art School proudly presents the Gathering of Shaman 2019 Fall Retreat, Manifestation Samhain. Join me, certified shamanic instructor Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magnificent Colorado Mountains this November 2nd and 3rd for a life-changing event. Participate in unique teachings and ceremonies that'll put the power and magic of shamanic manifestation into your hands. Sit in circle with like-minded individuals, sharing group energy and the power it generates. Classes will be held in a facility next to the beautiful, majestic Arkansas River, further empowering the experience. Space is limited, so reserve your spot today. For more information, visit findyourpathhome.com or email touchin@findyourpathhome.com.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. In our previous segment, we were catching up with Sandra Dee Robinson, who was filling us in on some new work that she's doing, where she's doing equine-assisted coaching. And there's really a tremendous amount of education that she's doing, utilizing horses and allowing people who come to her to have an experience with horses and to learn about themselves and their relationships with others. Sandra, what is the name of the course that you're teaching right now?
The program is actually called Charismatic Cowgirl. And I named that because my previous company that I started was called Charisma on Camera. So there's a charismatic theme. And Cowgirl because I was really targeting women when I went into this. I saw a real need for women to be able to have this experience. And of course, as soon as I deemed women my target, I had men going, what about us? So I do work with individual sessions as well, and I'll do that with men. So they do get to work and do the same thing. It's interesting. The women really rally around one another, and there's a real emotional safety with the women in the group whenever we do something like that. So that's how that came about.
You know, you had mentioned before, actually, in our break, that there's a very special relationship in herds of horses, and that the leaders are very unique. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why horses can teach us such great leadership skills. The leader of a horse herd in the wild is most of the time the female, the mare, that is the most calm and aware. And these are great skills for a leader to develop, to remain calm and aware. In other words, no drama. There's no bullying. I can tell right away if I have a boss that gets into the round pen and works with the horses that is leading from that bullying perspective. And that's usually set, that kind of perspective where they're really kind of bullying their people around comes from, well, probably you guys know this, but it comes from a deep set insecurity. So they are not in alignment with what they are doing. They are completely out of alignment. And usually a horse will ignore them as a leader. And that's sometimes a very brutal look into how they're showing up in the world. And they have to learn how to adjust, how to bring themselves into the present, how to relax their energy and be calm. And then when they get really clear, instead of saying, I am confident, I am a great leader, they can literally say, and I will sometimes have them say the words, I'm trying to be confident. And as soon as they say that reality that is in alignment with where they are, that horse will turn around and do work with them. It's amazing. But that is something, to be calm and aware is something that leaders, our best leaders in history in the military have been described that way. George Washington was described that way, in fact.
Well, and you are so on target with the whole confidence, self-esteem piece that, people who overmanage and who bully others in their techniques are very low self-esteem people and very low self-confident people.
Yes. Yes. So this is one way that they can, when they tap into the power that they have when they are present, it's amazing how that will in turn give them confidence.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what they were pretending to have, but didn't.
Well, and if you can control a 2,000-pound animal,
right,
it's really going to get that confidence up.
Yeah,
and I've had women that came in even a little fearful, and one woman, God bless her, she can't possibly weigh 95 pounds soaking wet. I mean, she's just teeny tiny. And she chose one of my biggest horses and had him moving around, and she was just on top of the world. She just thought, look at me. It was great.
And she probably walked away saying she could do anything.
Make somebody totally change the way they see themselves.
Yes.
It's really fascinating that you have a story also about one of your clients who spent some time with a horse that she had a really unexpected outcome when she started to work with him. Tell us a little bit about that.
Was this, we were talking off air here, and we were saying, was it the woman with the divorce that you were referring to? Yes. So while I have to preface by saying that what I do is equine assisted coaching, there is equine assisted therapy. What I do is related to the therapy model. It's the same certification, but if I was doing actual therapy, I would go deeper with the emotional issues, and I would have a psychotherapist next to me. So it's really important to know that there is a distinction. However, there is inevitably, when I'm working, in this coaching environment, as always in a coaching environment, there's going to be things that pop up. And so this woman came in, and I think it's very important to let them intuitively choose their equine partner as long as it takes, because that is a very important aspect of the way I work. And she chose a big boy horse, my big gelding. He's very majestic looking, and she had gone through a very brutal divorce. It was brutal on her psyche, and she was having a very difficult time thinking about getting into a relationship with a man. She was even having a difficult time with men that she worked with her son. There was a real block for her around male energy. And so she chose him, and she didn't know horses. She didn't know, it's fine. It's sometimes better if you don't know horses, to be honest. And she stood, everything is done on the ground. We don't ride. So she's in a round circular pen with him, and it's just her and him, and she didn't know what to do. So without saying a word, she brought him to her. She didn't even move. She just looked at him. He was ignoring her at the time, and she just literally, with her energy, pulled him to her. He turned, walked up to her, and put his head directly at her belly. And
what a powerful message.
Yes. And I asked her, did you ask him to do that? I already knew the answer. And she said yes, and she started crying. And I said, so you see how powerful you are and how attractive you are. You don't have to say the right thing all the time. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be anything but you. And that was such an amazing lesson. And that's something that we have to realize, that only 7% of our communication is language. If we remove that, we have to look at what we're really saying. When we walk in a room, it's not our words that show people who we are. Our very first impression is the energy that we're giving off.
That is so very true. And I know that you have experienced that in a very palpable way because of your acting background and being on stage and being in front of the camera, that's what really plays. It's not the lines you're delivering, it's who you are, because there's no difference between you on the stage and you in the wings or you in the audience. It's you.
Right. Yes.
It makes a
And that's
huge
what,
difference.
if you're a good actor, it is you. You know, you find in you what the character is that you're portraying. That is, you know, really what the art is. And yes, that ability to be in the present, to be able to tap into everything that's going on around you, and the best acting roles that we can remember, you could turn the volume down and we're still drawn into that emotion.
Yes. Especially those black and white movies, when you go back and you watch them, right? It's really funny. It's almost like they're so descriptive visually that things play that you don't even have to know what the story is to actually know what they're feeling and thinking.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's kind of why being a facilitator for this type of work, it helps that I studied human nature and human behavior and motivating human, things that motivate humans and the way we react to them, because that's a big part of what allows me to do the work that I'm doing with this facilitating with the horses. I know the horse's behavior, I know the human behavior, and I can give them the feedback that the horse is giving to them when I see certain things, and then they can shift it and they can change it. And then you immediately see the reaction on a 1,200-pound billboard of an animal. It's a lot easier for somebody to take the feedback from a horse than it is to take the feedback from a coach sometimes, a human coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or from a boss.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So if I were to tell somebody, hey, your boundaries are really lousy, they'll get defensive. But if a horse tells them that their boundaries are lousy, and I just pointed out, it's a whole different deal.
Well, I would love to see a person being a bully to a 1,200-pound horse.
It doesn't work.
No.
It just doesn't work. If they're trying to be something that they are not, it's not going to work.
Well, animals really can see through that nonsense, can't they?
They can. And if anybody has a dog, the difference between horses and dogs, there are many in the way they see the world, but dogs will forgive, almost instantly. Horses will forgive over time. What's great about them is they will adjust. If you change how you're being, they will adjust in an instant to the new you.
Wow.
But interesting.
Yes.
I didn't know horses were grudge holders.
They're not. That's what I'm saying. They will change. If you change your behavior, they will change in response to that almost immediately. But now, obviously, that's going to be a different situation if you have beaten a horse.
Right.
Okay, that's a whole different situation. But if you have an energy that has been off-putting, or they don't see you as a leader, and you change that, instead of saying, I am confident, if you say, I am trying to be confident, that horse will then turn around because you're now in alignment, and they will pair up with you. They will partner with you because you're now much more congruent. And we see that too. We see that in people. If you've ever gone to meet somebody, maybe a salesperson, and you like what they're selling, but there's just some reason that you don't feel very good about them, and you go, well, I'll think about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's because there's something that isn't aligned correctly, and you're picking up on it. You just don't. Sometimes we don't even listen to that, and we can get into trouble because we don't listen to that. We overthink things. Horses are not able to do that, which is the beauty of being able to work with them. Is we see, they're brutally honest. So you got to be ready. It takes some courage to be able to be vulnerable.
Yes. What fabulous work you're bringing to people, Sandra. I can't wait to learn more in our next segment.
Absolutely. And next event, when we come back, we're going to be speaking again with Sandra Dee Robinson, who is the owner of Charismatic Cowgirl, and she's doing some wonderful coaching for business leaders and leaders in general with equine-assisted coaching. Do stick around. We'll be back in just a moment on the Imagine More Success radio show.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
You're back with the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. In our previous segment, we were catching up with Sandra Dee Robinson, who has an amazing business called Charismatic Cowgirl, where she helps women become more in tune with themselves and help them learn how they can increase their relationship building in their businesses through equine assisted coaching. Sandra, in our previous segment, we were also talking about women in leadership, and just as a personal thing that I've seen, so often women, when they're pressed into leadership roles, are expected by men to act more like men, or what we typically consider masculine qualities, which are not necessarily the qualities that you mentioned earlier, which are calm and
aware.
And aware, yes. That's not not often what is associated with being business leaders. But the work you're doing is putting women in alignment with what's natural in the world. Especially early in the earlier segment, you said that mares actually lead the herds in the wild.
Yes. The stallion that a lot of people that don't know horses will think, well, the stallion's got to lead them. Like not often, not very often at all. He will protect, but the most calm and aware one in the herd is a mare, and she'll be the one to decide when they're going to go to a different pasture, how they're going to get to the water, when it's safe to move, when it's not safe. She's the one that will do that. And being calm and aware, there's other attributes to good leadership that women naturally will tap into if they don't shut it off, which, as you said, Thomas, and I appreciate that in the corporate world, they will get pressured to tune out their things like intuition. Empathy is not encouraged. Compassion is not necessarily encouraged. However, if you look at some of the best leaders, male or female, over a period of history, you will find that those are things that have made people so renowned. I just looked at a picture this morning. In fact, he came to mind as I was saying this, of Jimmy Carter, and we just love Jimmy Carter at this point. I mean, he's been out of the presidency for so long, and his heart is just in this humanitarian work that he's doing. And apparently he fell, he had stitches, he had a black eye, and he still got up and rallied for this charity the other day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love him, and he leads that work without any bullying, without any putting down. He's very, at this point, actually he's older too, but he's very calm. He's very aware of the situation. He's very supportive. He's empathetic. He is compassionate, and you want to be the same way when you are watching him. And that is, I think, great qualities for a leader to have. And I think that if women are allowed to tap into that, that's when we get things done.
Well, you have a lot of work to do, Sandra, because there are only 5% female CEOs in the top Fortune 500 companies, and that's down 1% from 2017.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's
Yes,
amazing.
and I can vouch for that because I've spent a lifetime leading in different capacities for many corporations across the country, and I'm a nurturer, and I was able to develop other leaders in every position I had because of all those qualities of the mare leading the herd.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
I
it
don't.
worked for you, is what you're saying.
It absolutely worked because
Yes.
when somebody isn't nurtured, they're not going to learn as fast, they're not going to develop as well, and they're not going to learn the skill sets they need. Just like the mare in the wild, you've got to have certain skills to do the work. And I found it to be, important to be compassionate. But the other side of the coin is when you need to, bring the hammer down, you have to be able to do that too for the non-performers.
Yes.
But for the performers, nurturing is absolutely the way to develop the people to do the work going forward.
Yes.
So,
and you are absolutely right. There's two sides to that. Absolutely.
Yes, but hats off to you.
Not going to work, right?
Yes. Hats off to you for developing people in this capacity.
Well, there's something that I think I would love to bring up too, which is we talk about the workplace. And as you said, it's a great thing to be that nurturing. And I think that there's something that we have to say for the fact that horses in the wild have two things that they focus on, and that is safety, survival. They're a prey animal. So they are like giant deer, giant rabbits. That's how they see the world. And they're very vulnerable. So their focus is on procreation and it's on security. It's on safety. And it's not much different for us. The procreation part, okay, there. But the safety, even at work, there's an emotional safety. In relationships, there is an emotional safety that I think we tend to seek out. And people do not realize that when you're at work and you do have that emotional safety, that security, that you can express yourself, that you will be taken care of, that if you voice, hey, that will give you the permission and give you the freedom to be able to say, hey, I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of see that as mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Many times mentors are that for most leaders because they're the ones who guide you to be safe in your position.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It seems like another thing that people are learning in your program is the idea of listening. And I think when most people are in a place of leadership, especially the higher up the corporate ladder you go, you find everyone kind of kowtowing to you. So you never really get the real story. You never get the true story. You're always getting people. Yeah, you're always getting people that are kowtowing to you and treating you in a very specific way, which is not necessarily, again, congruent or in alignment with what really is.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I can see where what you're doing is really putting up a gigantic mirror for someone who has not been able to look into a mirror for a very long time, because you don't get to the top by just jumping there. You work your way up. And so they've spent a long time with this kind of, repeated behavior and kind of getting a watered down version of what the truth is. So to put up a mirror like that of this animal that's totally in tune, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, before we end this segment, Sandra, I would love for you to describe the day in the life of one of your events and kind of how it works, where people stay, how many days, that sort of thing.
The retreats, we're doing 3, possibly 4 a year. They're just one day. It's a one-day retreat. There is overnight stay, not on my property directly, but there are a couple of hotels that I share of different styles, so you can be comfortable. And then I also have an estate very close to me who leases out a few buildings on her estate. It is a bed and breakfast kind of thing, and it's absolutely stunning. It's very close to me. So we do have those options. The day starts with working with the horses. We will stop. We have breaks. We have food. We have conversation. We do some journaling. We do a group exercise or two with the horses. And then we make sure we end the day going back and seeing what we have transformed in the energy, so that when we go back and we work with that same equine partner, we can actually see what has changed in the relationship, and then talk about how to move that forward into the real world and into the relationships with the humans that we deal with on a daily basis. And so it's all about really making sure that we take that breath, get to know what is already inside of us that we need to tap into, and then have action steps to be able to actually do that and apply it moving forward. One of the biggest things we tap into is a sense sometimes of awe, which is they're studying this emotion right now, and it does come up when you're working with the horses quite often. And it's an emotion that will be positive and also at the same time calming. Whereas we think of happiness, we want to jump up and down. It's a very energizing thing. Awe is actually very focusing, very positive, and it's very calming. And that is one of the emotions that we find we tap into whenever we're doing the work with the horses. And so people can do that even if you don't have the ability to work with a horse, or I'm not close to you, or you don't know a way to do this type of work. You can actually find inspirations in nature and give yourself a few minutes to really focus on something that you are in awe of, and just take a few minutes to do that and reach that. You can reach that emotion and really benefit from it.
And I'm sure you have more information available on your website, which is SandraDeeRobinson.com, correct?
Yes, spelled out like Sandra Dee, Sandra Dee from Greece. It's spelled the same way. Yeah.
Great.
So in your program, it sounds like you spend a lot of time, or a big part of it is really about developing relationships between your clients and the horses. And in business, people talk about building relationships and how important it is, but you're actually teaching people how to do it. What do you see as a massive shift for most of your clients when they begin the process of that relationship training?
Well, I think it's inevitable that they're going to feel a little ill-prepared when they're faced with some of the obstacles that will come up with their equine partner, because so often we check out. We stand in line. We have our phones. We stand in line at Starbucks. There could be 30 people in line, and not one person will talk to another because they're all on their phone. Mm-hmm. And we think we're communicating. We think that we are keeping up relationships because we're texting 2 or 3 people at the same time, when in essence, we are actually removing ourselves from what is going on around us. We're missing out on relationships that are right in front of us. And when we finally get to the front of the line and the barista asks what we want, we have 2 seconds to tell him what we want in a language, if you're at Starbucks, that is only known to you. And then you have your drink, and you get back in the car, and you turn your phone on, or you tune into a podcast, which is not a bad idea. But you tend to be constantly connected to technology, which is not a natural rhythm for us. And we need that downtime. We need to be able to really turn off all of the electronic stuff and just come back to the very basics of how we as humans communicate. How do our brains need to have the freedom and the bandwidth to be able to actually expand in a relationship and make that relationship rich? Your life is only as rich as your relationships. That is what gives you the sense of abundance. Nobody reaches the end of their life and goes, man, I wish I would have done better marketing funnels.
Yes. Yes. So we need to get off the merry-go-round and find a real horse.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
You're so right. Guys, please stick around in just a couple minutes. We'll be back with Sandra Dee Robinson to continue this really wonderful conversation about relationships between clients and horses. And please stick around for the Imagine More Success radio show.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by rel-mar, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to rel-marzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
You're back with the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We've been talking with Sandra Dee Robinson today. She is a very well-known television actress and soap opera star. She's also an author and international speaker, TV and radio show host, and she's been labeled by the media as the charisma coach. And she's been walking us through this incredible program that she's put together called Charismatic Cowgirl, where she allows clients to spend time with horses and basically let them have an equine assisted coaching together. And what you've been telling us today is just such a beautiful thing, Sandra. I mean, I think for Cindy as well, Cindy's has the understanding of what it is that you're teaching and knows these very same concepts and imparts them in her own coaching as well. To see someone else use again, like this large mirror of using an animal that's got this immediate feedback is just incredible.
Yes, brutally honest.
Yes. It's like getting tomatoes thrown at you from the audience, or as my first boys teach you to throw apples, actually. But
well, I think in Sandra's case, it would be more than apples that's going to be tossed. anyway, Sandra, I would love for you to share some of the things that we talked about with what you're planning on giving to our listeners, because it's amazing and I don't want it to get away from us. So.
Sure thing. Yeah, there is the book that I am coming out with next is called Horse Wisdom for Human Life. This is the same title that the speech that I give on this topic is. And so it makes sense for me to go ahead and do the book. But the book is still in edit. So what I've done is if you go to my website at sandradeerobinson.com with that /horse wisdom, I have put a video up there that actually talks a little bit about what is in the book, what concepts are in the book. And I have a little slideshow. So it's basically like a little training. So you get the idea after what we talked about today, what that might be like. And so you can go, that's totally free. You don't even have to put in an opt-in or give you don't have to opt in anything, you don't have to give in any information whatsoever. We talked about the sense of awe as well. And if you go to my website and you again /awe inspiration, there is a book there that you can download that will actually prompt you to be able to find those moments of awe. And there's one for every single day. And you can flip through any day that you want and find something that will put you into that wonderful state that is positive and calm so that you can go out and be a good leader like a lead mare.
Cool. So is that AWE inspiration?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. The world around us really is like an amazing, fascinating place. And earlier you were talking about how your life is only as rich as the relationships that you create. Mm-hmm. When people leave the work that you've done, do you find that the relationships that they're creating, say, with their family and outside of their business starts to change as well?
Yes, it does. It has to, because they've changed the way they relate to themselves. So whether it's that they're learning that self-care is necessary. I've had women, of course, Cindy, you know this, and Thomas, you probably do too, women that give so much of themselves and they give until they're exhausted and then they give some more.
Yes, absolutely.
And they pay for it. And what ends up happening is what they're giving is diluted because they're giving so much that they're exhausted. They're saying yes to everything. So if they leave and they're able to say no to a few things and really focus on the things and the people in their life that are the most important to them, that enrich them, that feed them, that they can then give that much more richness to those individual relationships. And that's so much better than being watered down and exhausted. So that's just one example. If they change the way they see themselves, they're absolutely going to be changing the things that are in their world on a daily basis and how they relate to them.
Absolutely.
There's so much pressure. I feel like women especially put a lot of pressure on themselves, or they feel pressure that they have to do everything. And so, I see that all the time. The women in my life, they work harder than is even humanly possible. Cindy, I'm talking about you as well. Seriously.
But there are two secrets there. If you choose work you love, it isn't really work. And that's how I'm able to do so much, because I'm just enjoying everything I'm doing. And the second secret is that, there's a price to be paid either way. So you pay a huge price for not contributing, and a huge price if you contribute too much. So the secret is to find the balance. And one of the ways you can do that is to go to places like what Sandra Dee is offering, and to be able to reconnect with yourself and to go the distance so that you can go on the price to be paid where you're in balance with what you're contributing.
Yes. Beautiful.
Sandra, if you have a takeaway today that you'd like to leave the listeners with, please do that. We would love to hear some final thoughts about how important this work is that you're doing.
Oh, gosh. There is the one thing I can leave, because I realize not everybody has access to horses. If you're living in New York City, it's not going to be easy to go down the block and get around horses. So I get that. So the one thing that I do want to encourage people to do, though, it makes me very sad to think that there are people that don't realize that nature is there to heal us in so many ways. It's great if you can get around a horse and have a facilitated session that will lead you into a great coaching experience. But Albert Einstein has one of my favorite quotes, which is, "Look deep into nature and you will understand everything better." And that taps back into the sense of awe that I was talking about. And even if you are in New York City, you can find something, whether it's a butterfly or it's a breeze blowing through the trees in Central Park. It doesn't matter where you are. You can find something, the skies, the sunset, the sunrise. There is a beautiful painting by God every single day, morning and night. Don't miss out on that. Take a look up. Appreciate the expanse of the sky. Appreciate the minuteness of an ant carrying something 5 times its size. There's something so beautiful about nature, and the more we connect to it and connect to that little bit of rhythm, the healthier we will be. And so that's what I really want to leave people with. I could sit there and go, I want to pitch my business to you. No, I don't. If it's not your deal, it's not your deal. But, if you're afraid of horses, not interested, that's okay. But I do wish that everybody would experience taking some time out, putting the phone down, going out even with your loved ones and just spending time in a very natural environment and just decompressing and allowing your brain to rebuild itself, because that's really what we're designed to do.
Well, and of course, there are the 2 great gifts that you're offering to people that will also be a huge help. So go to Sandra Dee's websites that we talked about, and you will be able to get yourself into nature even faster.
Absolutely. That's SandraDeeRobinson.com/horsewisdom, where you can find access to her book and a video, which is going to give you a little insight into what her book's going to be like, and also give you a chance to find out when it's going to be published so that you can get it. Sandra, thank you so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, guys.
You bring just a tremendous depth of understanding and that sense of awe. You carry that with you, and we appreciate that. That's really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Until next time, Sandra, we love you.
It's very fascinating, Cindy. We've had lots of guests on the show. Today's show really had some powerful takeaways, I think, when Sandra's talking about how women find themselves in these leadership positions and they're under such tremendous pressure to perform, and they find themselves moving outside or away from what their natural traits are that got them to the place where they originally found themselves in a leadership role. And to have that chance to change that, it's incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what, Thomas, here's a secret for you, is that women have been leading for centuries, but we just don't announce it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yes, and the old saying, behind every successful man, there's a successful woman in the background.
Yes, I would have to agree with that. And there's so much power in the idea of people coming together, and while there can be a spirit of competition, to also have a spirit of cooperation, and to see someone kind of creating that in this kind of environment where they're working back and forth with horses, I think is a very unique experience. One I'd really like. I wish I had the chance to experience that.
Yes. Well, I really think that any time that you can get away from your natural habitat and go to something like what Sandra recommended with her wonderful event, even one day, it's massive what people can walk away with what she's put together. So just keep it in the back of your mind, our listeners out there, that just get a day to just go out and be and commune with yourself, and, or get a great coach and work on what it is that you need to discover that you need to work on. Because many times in my experience is that people don't even realize. I mean, you and I know that, Thomas, with what work we've been doing. People
Yes.
don't even realize what they need to be working on.
And obviously, calm and aware, I think, are the 2 big topics that we took away from today. How important it is for a leader to have those 2 qualities, to not just be talking but also listening. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can become a better leader in your life and in your business, we want to invite you to check out our website, findhiddenmoney.com, where you can gain the life skills in order to help you both create a better business and a better you, with some really amazing courses, including the first one called Goal For It, where you can learn how to set and achieve massive personal and business goals that will propel your life forward and help you to create a life that you really love and really enjoy. And if you'd like to listen to some past episodes of the Imagine More Success radio show, do go to our website, imaginemoresuccess.net, where you can find all of the previous episodes where we have some tremendous education as well as entertainment with really fascinating guests from many walks of life. And until next time, we just want to remind you to always realize your dreams and to imagine more success.